Are you crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
There's one guy brings the items, and the other guy pays.
What about the nurse that lives across the hall from you? She seems kind of nice.
Secure the engine room, then find me a date.
I'm multitasking.
Shoot him in the face.
I hate to shatter your ego, but this ain't the first time I've had a gun pointed at me.
You don't take your fucking end off that case, it'll be your last.
Stop causing
Just.
Hey, maybe you haven't been keeping up on current events, but we just got our asses kicked, pal. Look.
Marion, don't look at it. Shut your eyes, Marion. Don't look at it, no matter what happens.
Smell it! You smell it! Hey, folks!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Good Cinema with me, your host, Matt, from Heroes for Hire, the Heroes for Hire Comic Club. What's up? What's up, Mark? BBS got a meeting? All right. I don't know what BBS is, but all right. We're talking about the 1999 film Fight Club tonight. It's good to see you, Mark. The 1999 film Fight Club, directed by David Fincher, starring Brad Pitt and Ed Norton. One of my favorite films from the 90s. Came in the tail end of the 90s. Hey, I'm I One of Us. How you doing? Good to see you all here. Thanks for stopping by. Always good to see everybody. Of course, here we go. Ed Norton and Brad Pitt in the movie. Got another comment. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Definitely one of my favorite movies in the 90s. It goes right up there with Pulp Fiction, True Romance, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Interview with a Vampire. A lot of great 90s movies, you know. But yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. It's kind of like a divisive kind of film back in the day. You know what I mean? The critics didn't like it, but it was a fan favorite for a lot of cinephiles out there, fans of David Fincher and Brad Pitt. Great performance by Ed Norton in this movie, and Helena Bonham Carter is awesome in this movie, in my opinion. Is Marla Singer. Brad Pitt. I'm sure a lot of men wish they looked like Brad Pitt does in this movie. He's pretty in shape. Of course, we're breaking the first rule of Fight Club by even talking about this movie. The first rule and the second rule of Fight Club are you do not talk about Fight Club. But we're going to be talking about it tonight at length, hopefully. It looks like I'm going to be my partner in crime, Big Jeff's not here. So it looks like I might be doing this a solo tonight. There you go. Ed Norton. And there he is with Meatloaf's character, Bob. Of course, it's got some memorable lines in this movie. But right now, we're going to look at the Wikipedia page. If you're watching this on a replay, please leave a comment. Tell me what was your favorite part in the movie. And who was your favorite actor in the movie or actress? You know, it could be the one. And what did you think of it? Did you like it? Do you hate it? Is there, I don't know. And what's your favorite David Fincher film? He's done a lot of great films over the years, including Alien 3, 7, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And, you know, I could go on, but we'll stop there. And here's the Wikipedia page. Have it set up back there. We'll go over just a little briefly. This movie came out in 1999. Like I said, directed by David Fincher, starring Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Helena Bonham Carter. It is based on the 1996 novel by writer Chuck Palahniuk. Norton plays the unnamed narrator who is discontented with his white-collar job. He forms a fight club with a soap salesman named Tyler Durden, played by Pitt. They become embroiled with an impoverished but beguiling woman named Marla Singer, played by Helena Bonham Carter. The novel was optioned in 2000. And it says here that he developed the script with they thought the screenwriting advice from the cast and others in the film industry. It was filmed in around Los Angeles from July to December of 98. He and the cast compared the film to A Rebel Without a Cause and The Graduate, a theme of conflict between Generation X and the value system of advertising. It says here that studio execs did not like the film and restructured Fincher's intended marketing campaign to try to reduce anticipated losses. Fight Club premiered at the 56th Venice International Film Festival on September 10th, 1999. It was released in the United States on October 15th, 1999 by 20th Century Fox. The film failed to meet the studio's expectations at the box office and polarized critics. It was ranked as one of the most controversial and talked about films of the 1990s. However, Fight Club later found commercial success with its home video release, establishing it as a cult classic and causing media to revisit the film in 2009 on its 10th anniversary. The New York Times dubbed it the defining cult film of our time. Hey, Kevin. Thanks, man. Thanks for being here. Also here, so, the unnamed narrator, is played by Ed Norton. He's an insomniac who can't sleep. He's also dissatisfied with his job, his lifestyle, and overall life. As a form of therapy, he attends support groups for problems he does not have, such as alcoholism and testicular cancer. This guy becomes addicted to self-help groups. And then what's funny is when he finds out there's another person there that's not sick, played by Bonham Carter, who plays Marla Singer, he gets so mad at her. He's like, she's a big old faker. But the irony is he's a big faker too. So, and during flight, he meets Tyler Durden, who criticizes his consumerist lifestyle. When the explosion destroys the narrator's apartment, he moves into Tyler's decrepit house. But what you forget about is there was a big twist in this movie. What we find out later, of course, is Brad Pitt is his projection of what he wishes he could be. So Brad Pitt, we find out later, Tyler Durden's not even a real person, right? Spoiler alert, but this movie's been out for almost 30 years. So I think at this point, if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. But yeah, so apparently when he's insomniac, he's not really insomniac. He's like, he'll pass out and he'll wake up as Tyler Durden and not remember a thing he did. And he's been forming all these fight clubs. They start forming this fight club and he's basically like putting up franchises they joke about in the film. They changed a lot. Some of the book, like the first time in the book when he meets Tyler Durden's on a nude beach trying to make a sundial with his private parts. So, yeah. So there's that. The book is really great, though. So we get into the cast, and we see Helena Bonham Carter, also Meatloaf, Jared Leto plays Angel Face, Holt McCallany, Zach Grenier, Ian Bailey, and there you go. I don't have to read the rest of them. So Fincher said Fight Club was a coming-of-age film, like the 1967 film The Graduate, but for people in their 30s. Fincher described the narrator as an everyman. The characters identified in the script as Jack, but left unnamed in the film. Fincher outlined the narrator's background. He's tried to do everything he was taught to do, tried to fit into the world by becoming the thing he isn't. He cannot find happiness, so he travels on a path of enlightenment in which he must kill his parents, God, and teacher. By the start of the film, he has killed off his parents. With Tyler Durden, he kills his God by doing things they are not supposed to do to complete the process of maturing. Also, this movie was kind of like subversive. I didn't tell anybody about it. I thought I wasn't supposed to, but John, if you want to come on, I would appreciate some help. If you want me to drop the link, I'll send it to you. I'd be happy to, man. You got nobody to talk to. It always goes better when there's people to talk to about it, Well, just put it this way. The link is in your IG if you want it. All right. Let's go over a little bit more here real quick. I just want to kind of move around. This the movie's Gen X to the Bone, by the way. It's a novel. It was, okay, like I said, Chuck Palahniuk, he published the 1996 book. Before its publication, the Fox Searchlight Pictures Book Scout sent a gallery proof of the novel to creative executive Kevin McCormick. The executive assigned a studio reader to review the proof as a candidate for a film adaptation, but the reader discouraged it. McCormick then forwarded the proof to producers Lawrence Bender and Al Linson, who also rejected it. Producer Josh Donnan and Ross Bell saw potential and expressed interest. They arranged unpaid screen readings of actors to determine the script's length, and an initial reading lasted 6 hours. Producers cut out sections to reduce the running time, and they used the shorter script to record dialogue. Bell sent the recording to Laura Ziskin, head of the division of Fox 2000 Pictures, who listened to the tape and purchased the rights to Fight Club for $10,000 from the author. Producer Ross Bell had met with Russell Crowe to discuss his candidacy for the role as Tyler Durden. Producer Art Linson, who joined the project late, met with Brad Pitt regarding the same role. Linson was the senior producer of the two, so the studio sought to cast Brad Pitt instead of Crowe. Pitt was looking for a new film after the domestic failure of his 1998 film Meet Joe Black, and the studio believed Fight Club would be more commercially successful with a major star like Brad Pitt. The studio signed Pitt for $17.5 million. For the role of the unnamed narrator, the studio desired a sexier marquee name such as Matt Damon to increase the film's commercial prospects. It also considered Sean Penn. Fincher instead considered Edward Norton based on his performance in the 1996 film The People versus Larry Flint. Other studios were approaching Norton for leading roles in developing films like The Talented Mr. Ripley and Man on the Moon. He was cast in Runaway Jury, but the film did not reach production. 20th Century Fox offered Norton $2.5 million for Fight Club. He could not accept the offer immediately because he still owed Paramount Pictures a film. He had signed a contractual obligation with Paramount to appear in one of the studio's future films for a smaller salary. Norton later satisfied the obligation with his role in the 2003 film The Italian Job, which was a remake. Pretty good remake, though. Fincher's first choice for the role of Marla Singer was Janine Garofalo. Oh, I didn't know that. While Fincher initially stated that she turned it down because she objected to the film's sexual content. In an interview in 2020, Garofalo revealed that she did not accept the role, but was dropped because Norton believed she was poorly suited for it. Fincher pitched the role to Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Also, the filmmakers considered Courtney Love and Winona Ryder as early candidates. Love claimed that she was cast as Marla Singer, but was fired after she rejected Pitt's pitch for the film about her late husband, Kurt Cobain. The studio wanted to cast Reese Witherspoon, but Fincher felt she was too young. Sarah Michelle Gellar turned it down due to scheduling conflicts with her show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and finally Fincher chose to cast Helena Bonham Carter based on her performance in the 1997 film The Wings of the Dove. Interesting. Studio executive Mechanic and Ziskin planned an initial budget of $23 million to finance the film, but by the start of production, the budget was increased to $50 million. Half was paid by New Regency, but during filming, the projected budget escalated to $67 million. New Regency's head and Fight Club executive producer Andron Milchan petitioned Fincher to reduce the cost to at least by $5 million. And we have a guest here, John. Hey, John. So
didn't anybody tell you
Thanks for coming on?
This movie? You're not supposed to talk about it. You're not supposed to tell people. It's a secret.
Yeah, that's why we only got 4 people watching right now. Oh, sorry. It does that. There you go.
Never talk about this movie.
Actually, the first 2 rules are you're not supposed to talk about it. So.
Right. And you're breaking it right now. But yes, I'm a big fan. I like this movie a lot, even though it is incredibly, to your point earlier, subversive. It is very satirical, I would argue, is what it is. And I put this movie on the same list as things like Scarface and Wolf of Wall Street. These are movies that should not be taken as how-to guides. You should not be watching these movies and idolizing these characters because they are awful people.
No, they're extremely
the problem is people with very little ability to read or absorb art without questioning it view it as like, oh, I want to be like Brad Pitt. Look how freaking ripped he is. He looks so sexy. I want to look like Brad. Or they look at, Leo and DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street, and they're like, oh, that's what I want to do. I want to rip off all these poor schmucks
there was a lot of people that like, yeah,
it's a how-to
there was a lot of
guide
people
for
that made
people with
Jordan
no
Belfort out
media
to be a hero.
savvy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
Scarface is the
Well,
same
and
way.
I-
I
and-
in college, I knew so many people with Scarface posters, and I was like, I think you took the wrong message from that story.
You know, and the thing about like, you know, people tend to forget about Jordan Belfort. He robbed thousands of people of money.
Right.
Millions and millions of dollars he just stole from people.
Correct. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and like there's nothing cool about that. Now, is it
And-
funny when he takes those Quaaludes and has to crawl to the car? Yes.
and that's the thing, like these are talented filmmakers, right? You look at Brian De Palma, you look at Martin Scorsese, and you look at David Fincher for this. These are incredibly intelligent filmmakers, and they want to challenge you. And the challenge is to watch the movie with enough intelligence to be able to determine for yourself how flawed these characters are and how big the mistakes they are making are. And this is a hero who is his own villain, right? He is his biggest problem. And we are watching him learn just how big of a screw up he really is. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. And it's a powerful movie, and it's a really well made and well executed film. But I think my worry is that people who are morons and can't really absorb story without taking the time to really dissect it will come away with the wrong messages here. And for me, I'm somebody that whenever I hear somebody talk about being an alpha male and, you know, a high value man and, you know, what you got to do, you got to lead your woman and whatever, I think of Fight Club and I think of Tyler Durden. It makes me think of how idiotic they sound. And it's not, they don't want a partner in life. They want a servant. They want a mom. They want a slave. And I think you watch Tyler and he is so petty and he is so wrapped up in just getting what he needs, right? Getting his needs fixed. He is such an addict for attention and so many things. And it's because Edward Norton is the other side. Edward Norton is so repressed and he is so unable to express himself and so unable to stand up for himself. Yeah. He is desperate for the ability to stand on his own feet, right? And he is tragically lost inside of himself and unable to make any change, be an element of change in his life. So I love the power dynamic happening between these two characters. Yeah, right. 100%. That's a great way to say it.
Well, when you look at like another viewing after you watch it the first time, and you realize because I love the way Fincher does it. If you've not read the book, it totally blindsides you when you find out.
Yeah.
But then when you watch it again, you're like, oh, or like they show those flashbacks. Oh, this makes sense now. And they give you subtle hints, like when he goes up there and confronts his boss, and his boss tells him, "We're having a problem with you," and he starts beating himself up to pretend the boss kicked his butt.
Yeah.
And so then it kind of starts making sense. And also, the second time you watch it, the scene in the limo makes more sense than why the two guys in the back are so puzzled.
Yes.
As to what he's talking about.
100%. Or every single scene with Marla. Because I think Marla is the more interesting character because she sees both, right? She is self-destructive in her nature. She's attracted to Edward Norton and the kindness that she sees inside of him. But he is so lost that the only time he can genuinely show her affection is when this sexual id or ego takes over. And now she's basically like, well, I want affection from this man, but the only time he shows it to me is when he's in this like hyper male state, right? When he turns into this Brad Pitt version. And inversely, I think she wants connection with Norton, but every time he is there, every time she gets the narrator, right? It's so disconnected. He doesn't give her the time of day. Yeah. And I think watching the scenes with her with the knowledge of what's going on, you can see how she feels like, you know, she's at that line where she's like psycho, like because she's like realizing that she thinks he's just being a dick, like a lot of men probably have treated her in her life, but he's legitimately psychotic. Yes.
Yeah. And you know, sister, the DVD version you showed there, there's a great commentary track.
Yes.
With Fincher, Pitt, and Norton, and Fincher and them talk about that. Like the first time you watch this movie, you think she's a horrible person,
right?
Like,
she's
oh,
the
she's
victim.
like went with this guy that's his friend.
Yeah,
and
she's
then like,
the victim
yeah.
in this for sure.
Yeah, and then you realize what a psycho he is at the end of it.
Yeah,
and what's amazing is this guy accidentally forms a terrorist organization without even knowing it.
For sure, 100%. Sorry, the cat's coming through here.
And this movie is like Gen X to the bone too, like to the core.
Yeah, yeah. I think it spoke to our generation as far as feeling disenfranchised, feeling powerless, feeling like what it meant to be a man wasn't the same anymore. From you look at like grandpa's generation to my dad's generation to mine to the generation after me. I think we've been redefining what it means to be masculine and what it means to be a man, just the same way probably that women did the same thing when they left the home and started working more and trying to have it all for women, right?
Yeah.
This is an experience where they were redefining what those gender roles meant. And Fight Club is a response to that, right? Fight Club is an examination of the people who tell you what a man should be and how a man should act. And I think that in that way, you can see Chuck Palahniuk was really offended, I think, by the reaction to a Gen X man.
Well, and I think he also probably felt some of the things that he wrote in this book, and this was his way of expressing it. Like it's like stuff like we think about, but we don't let those intrusive thoughts take over and control us.
Right.
And like
for sure,
and the other thing is like I'll play a clip here. And this is one of the clips where he's talking about, like, when this movie came out, we got to keep it in context. It's 1999.
No.
Filmed in 98. This is before 9/11. This is before the Iraq War. So he's talking about how, we're the men. He's talking about our generation is like, we're the middle history. We're the middle children of history.
Yeah.
We have no great war. Like you're talking about our great grandfather or grandfathers fought in World War II. My dad fought in Vietnam War.
Yep.
That kind of war defined that generation, whether you were in the war or whether you were protesting it.
For sure.
And it's like, what did we have to? Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah, it's a great movie, Rich. Thanks for coming by, man.
I think he ends that speech with saying our Great Depression is our lives. And I think that's the reality that he's trying to get to, that Chuck Palahniuk's trying to get to, which is that you don't have to have that be the case.
Yeah. And here's just a short clip.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need. We're the middle children of history, man.
Yeah, and it was a response
like
to consumer. It was definitely a comment on consumerism, right? It was ahead of its time, commenting on consumerism, and Brad Pitt looking like a jeans model or an underwear model was like a part of that, right? That this is what a man should look like. Never mind that like so few men in their lives will ever look like Brad Pitt looks shredded in this movie. Instead, I think it's a comment on like people getting so lost in this country on appearance. That's what matters, right? Not the genuine person inside, but no. You can only be of value based on how you look, right? Yeah. And I think he makes that comment when he beats the crap out of Jared Leto, and he says, "I just wanted to destroy something beautiful."
Like destroy something beautiful, yeah. And Brad Pitt's like, "Where did you go, psycho boy?" He's like, he went to a dark place. And there's also a thing like we're talking about how you revolt against your parents. He revolts against, like, he's got a grudge against our creator. You know what I mean? And like, there's a great scene. I'm going to play a couple clips from it where he showed him how to make soap. And by the way, we're talking about how subversive it is. And David Fincher said he was worried about this too when he made the movie, about people taking it the wrong way. That's why when he's talking about how to make dynamite, he leaves out like 3 or 4 steps. He just kind of glazes over it. You know? But it's unfortunately, in the society we live in now, you can probably find that on the internet. But let's not talk.
Oh, for sure.
But don't do that, please. Whatever you do, guys, don't go looking for that on the internet.
But again, that's that point of like we are not looking at these characters as role models, right? We should be questioning them.
It has some great scenes in it, though. But like, here we'll play. I'll just play a couple of these clips, and we'll get back to it.
In all probability, he hates you. This is not the worst thing that can happen.
It isn't.
We don't need him.
We don't. I agree.
Fuck damnation, man. Fuck redemption.
Yeah. It's kind of a bleak, nihilistic kind of view of this movie. It's like nihilistic to the bone too.
I would say it's nihilistic because we're getting Tyler's view of things. And if we question Tyler as we get to the end of the movie, when we naturally do question Tyler, I think that's when we realize he's wrong. He's choosing to be nihilistic because it helps him avoid the pain or put a label on the pain he's feeling. Instead of finding a productive way to manage it or to find happiness in his life, pain becomes the solution because he can feel it and he can control it, right? And I think in that way, it's an anti-nihilism film if you get to the end and learn the lesson. But the problem is, I think few people learn the lesson.
Well, you know what else this movie reminds me of is there's a quote by one of my favorite writers of all time, Hunter S. Thompson, and he says it's at the beginning of his book Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He says it's not his quote, but it's attributed to somebody named Dr. Johnson. He says, "He who makes a beast of himself takes away the pain of being a man." So that could be Ed Norton.
I mean, that is a perfectly apt quote for this film. I totally agree. Yeah. And I think in some ways that's what Norton's character is trying to do, is find a way to cope, right? He's trying to find a way to cope, and he's unable to connect with people authentically. So he pretends to be people, Cornelius or whatever, because it's the only way he can create genuine emotion and connection is by faking it. And that's his real problem. He lacks the ability or the know-how to just connect with people. And the hilarity of it is, or the tragedy of it is, I think the more we've gotten into the internet and cell phone and computer screen era, the more this is relevant.
Hey, man. And also the kind of irony of this movie that he's addicted to self-help groups. And they kind of glaze over it in a funny way, though. He's like, when he sees Marla there, he's like, "Marla, that big faker." You're sitting there going, "Wait a minute. You don't have any of these diseases either."
Right.
And he's like, but he talks about her like, you can tell, like the way he talks about her with such contempt, but he's like, "But I saw her at my sickle cell weekly meeting." I'm like, sickle cell? What are you doing at a sickle cell meeting?
Or the testicular cancer. He's at the testicular. She's at the
Cornelius.
Testicular cancer one. Yeah.
He did. Yeah. And what? Yeah. And like, well, here's a clip where he's just kind of seeing that this woman just walked into his, like, he's got this little world, and he's like upset about it.
And she ruined everything.
This is cancer, right?
And she's got that line when she says something like, I belong here more than you. You still have your balls. Am I freezing or are you freezing? I don't know one of us is freezing up.
And also, I think one of the breakout supporting characters in this movie is Meatloaf.
He's great.
Yeah, he needs self-help groups to even cry. He can't make himself cry. And it makes him say, like, well, my life is not as shitty as these people. They're dying.
Right.
And but it's also kind of like, to me, it's creepy and wrong to be doing this. It's like very voyeuristic of him. Like, these people you're seeing these people who are coping with death, like that girl, Chloe, the actress plays Chloe. And just like, I mean, I don't know if he's making fun of them, but like, should he really be there? It's like he's eavesdropping on these people. Yeah, Evan's already chanting. His name is Robert Pattinson. And I love Meatloaf in this movie, though. I just want to,
He needs that authenticity where this person is genuinely going through something. This person's genuinely feeling something, and it allows me to turn that valve on in myself that I don't have that I can't access at any other time. And I think there's several reasons why it works. Number one, it's the fake identity, right? He's able to like pretend that he's somebody else. Number two, he knows these people are going to die. These people will likely not live very long. So he's able to have that disconnect between them. And I think it's a comment on his disconnect from the world around him.
And here's where we get to meet as Ed Norton's character, the narrator, calls him the Big Moosey. Bob was he was a professional bodybuilder, and ever since he's quit doing all this stuff, he had all this bad health problems from doing all these steroids and human growth hormone that he's got breasts now, like actual. I don't want to use the word they use in the movie. Okay, I'm just going to say that because we're on YouTube. But and there was a clip I had to cut out too. But by the way, but
there's probably a lot.
I'll play that back. Yeah, I'll play it backstage.
Those awkward little steps.
My name is Bob.
Bob.
Bob had been a champion bodybuilder.
I love the first time he really cries and he leaves like a smiley face almost of tears and snot on Bob's chest.
Yeah, because is a satire of consumerism, modern masculinity, exploring things about identity, crisis, self-consumerism, and the search for purpose in society that may feel as stripped individuals. Yeah,
of their
and
identity.
There's a great line when Brad Pitt talks to him about the things you own start to own you. But it's kind of like this dime store philosophy he's using the whole movie. It's kind of
because there's no deeper like follow through on how to connect to something authentically. No. All he offers in exchange for avoiding the pain of connection is violence and physical pain. That's all he can offer. He can't offer anything genuine. He can't offer anything of value, right? The connectivity is lessened and deadened, but at least you can control it, and you can control the pain, and in that way you have some level of control, even though it controls an illusion, as we all know. But that's what he offers. That's what Tyler is offering to the narrator, and the narrator is so desperate for anything that he latches onto it.
Yeah, and the scary part, when it gets real scary, is when it comes to realization that he's the same person, and he set this ball in motion and he can't stop it. Like he goes in there and he's like, talk to the police, like, look, lock me up. I created a terror organization that's across the United States, and they're going to hit these buildings. And they're like, it's okay, sir. Everything's under control. And he realizes, oh shit.
Yeah.
And what's scary about it is like, it's all the blue collar workers that are on his side. So when he goes to the police, or the guy that's the janitor at this building or whatever, this financial building, and he's got this crazy idea that, like, if we blow these buildings up, it'll erase all the credit card debt, which is ludicrous because it's going to be on a computer somewhere.
Right.
It's in his mind, I guess. And then, but you see Edward Norton's like, okay, the scene where Bob gets killed, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, I can't believe them effing cops shot him, man. You know, they're all like, he says, and then Edward Norton, who's playing the rational part of his mind, is like, what do you think was going to happen? You were running around at night with ski masks on, blowing shit up.
Yep.
But then, what's crazy to me, it's like he tries to tell him this man was a human. But he's like, sir, in Project Mayhem, nobody has a name, you know. And they're like, he's like, no, his name was Bob, and he was my friend. And then they think it's just some other little guru-y thing, like his name was Robert Paulson. And they start using it as a mantra.
Yeah, they're in a cult now.
And he's got no control whatsoever.
Yeah, he is struggling to make change in that because the mentality is set, right? For all the other members of the cult, they are in. They have been trained through violence and repetition by Tyler and the narrator, and they're not gonna question him, but they are gonna stop him if he gave them orders. In fact, that's what they do at the police station when they're like, I'm so proud of you, sir, for being an example. We're gonna cut your balls off here at the police station now. And they're like, he's like, oh my God, what the heck?
Actually,
right? Because he has told them what to do if somebody tries to rat them out, and then he's using himself as an example in their minds, right?
And here's an example of that too. There was when they were like, we're going to investigate this underground boxing club, right? So they steal this, they kidnap this guy and put him in the bathroom. And I just put this in there because it's kind of a funny line, because he's like, Bob, fill his balls. This is what T-Love says.
Man, these balls are ice cold.
And I think funny. humor in.
Yeah, you got to be able to laugh at it, but that's the point of satire, right? It's got to be so over the top, so over the line that you can look at it with a sense of humor. Again, this works in Scarface. It works in Wolf of Wall Street. You can laugh at some of the ridiculous stuff that Pacino says in Scarface that is so ridiculous, but at the same time, it's that's the satire of it. Then it's the same with with Wolf of Wall Street, and it's the same here. And I think that's when satire is done well and done right. And I think when you have talented filmmakers who know how to tell that story without crossing over the line into maybe idolizing or honoring these characters.
Well, and also this movie's not a satire, but another movie that's kind of got an ominous history as to a certain person that thought he was going to impress an actress from the movie, Taxi Driver.
Oh, sure.
Travis Bickle is the main character in that movie, look, I can relate to his isolationism and his loneliness, but he's not somebody like, oh, I want to be like this character. I want to be like Travis Bickle. I want to be like Tyler Durden. No, you don't want to be all these guys because there's something broken in these guys. And it kind of shows you like what happens when somebody's on the fringes of society.
Yeah.
What can happen? Like you can either go this way or like, remember in the Killing Joke, Joker says, all it takes is one. He always thinks all it takes is one bad day.
And I think all of these movies, and you can include Joker, the dark, Phillips film. I think they're all films about tragically lonely people trying to navigate a very unfriendly world and having no real guiding light, no real way to find a way through this. And as a result, it becomes a very dark satire that you can sympathize with the character, but hopefully by the end realize that they made a lot of mistakes.
Well, like the Joker, I call it that Joker movie by Todd Phillips. I kind of call it like the love child of the Scorsese film that was very overshadowed king of comedy.
Yeah, it is definitely, and there's another one. That's another dark satire film, right?
Yeah.
So I think in that way they have a lot in common. Again, talented filmmaker Scorsese, clearly inspiring another generation of satirists. And I can enjoy some of these movies. It's not often that I love a good satire. I think sometimes satire walks a very fine line for me. Am I enjoying this, or am I really hating these people? And Fight Club for me is an example. I think it's because the filmmaking is so interesting and the twist is so powerful. And the comments on masculinity and consumerism in modern society are so poignant that it works for me in a way that some of those others we mentioned don't. And I think it ranks a lot higher as a result for me.
Yeah. And, David Fincher, to me, when I think of the 1990s, there's three directors that come to mind right off the bat.
Okay.
First one's Quentin Tarantino. The other one's Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay.
And David Fincher.
Sure.
I think they were making some of the most interesting films of the 90s. I know that like there was only, I think, PTA only had a couple, but I mean, it was Hard Eight and Boogie Nights. So it's hard to say that he wasn't killing it.
Yeah, because Magnolia was what, 2000 or 2000. Might have been 99. Yeah, Magnolia was right there. So he hadn't done Punch Drunk Love, but yeah, he had done Boogie Nights and he had done Hard Eight. Quentin obviously had a bunch of hits and had kind of like started to solidify his voice. And Fincher, if you even count Alien 3 all the way through Fight Club, you got quite a list of interesting movies with a lot to say.
And the one thing you can say about all three directors is each movie's it's got their signature on it, but they're completely different.
Sure. Well, I think Fincher probably more than Tarantino and P.T. Anderson has no real genre that he dabbles in. He plays in a lot of different ponds, but what he has is an ability to just tell stories in a unique style that is very true to. I mean, you look at Social Network versus Zodiac. It's like he's a very diverse filmmaker. Versus, I think P.T. Anderson tends to do heightened drama, and Quentin tends to do stylized action films. But I think they all just have a real knack for storytelling.
Yeah, and they got their own like unique stamp. Like I can see a lot of Scorsese and Paul Thomas Anderson. I can see a lot of the Grindhouse from the 70s because Quentin Tarantino was heavily influenced by the 70s Grindhouse and exploitation films.
Yeah,
and he even like he steals a lot of like songs from the movie. He borrows them, I guess. But I only got 2 more clips. The one I wasn't going to play, but I decided not to. We'll allude to it. He's in bed with Helena Bonham Carter, and she says, "I ain't been like since grade school." And I'm like, and then the best part of that scene though is when Brad Pitt looks at the camera like, "What did she say?" But there's only 2 clips. I want to play one that's kind of lighthearted. Then I'll play another clip that's not from the movie, but it's very relevant, I think. Okay. This is where he's at the airport, and they his luggage is confiscated because they think there's a bomb in it.
It's a great scene.
My suitcase was vibrating.
9 times out of 10, it's an electric razor, but every once in a while, it's a dildo.
I love the way he looks around. I love the way he covers them. Like, is anybody listening to me? Yeah, that it's such a great actor moment.
I like the other part of that where I don't have the clip, but he's like, but when we find one, we never say your dildo. We always say a dildo.
Yeah.
But they won an award for this at the you remember the channel? It seems like it's been 20, 30 years ago at this point, but it's not. It seems like forever ago. But there was a channel called Spike TV for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And it won an award at the Spike TV Awards. And so when David Fincher, Brad Pitt, and Ed Norton went to accept the award, they each read a critic's review of this film when it came out. And the one I highlighted was when Edward Norton reads a review from a very famous movie critic. You'll find out who it is after we play the clip. He'll tell you after the end of it.
The most cheerfully fascist film since Death Wish, it's macho porn, is the sex movie Hollywood has been moving toward for years. That was Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And can we say that Roger Ebert entirely missed the entire point of that film?
Or I think, he feels about Fight Club the way I feel about Wolf of Wall Street, which I think is that the worry is that the movie walks the line of glamorizing the characters it's trying to demonize. Yeah. And I think I watch Wolf of Wall Street and I hate that movie. I can't stand it. And I think it does spend way too much time glamorizing Jordan Belfort and his life and the things he did. And it feels in the end like they called it fascist porn. It feels like porn for those people on Wall Street that just want to get rich quick and screw everybody. It feels like that. And I could understand. I mean, you get Margot Robbie for a few years, and who cares if you go to jail? You'll come out and you'll make a movie about your life and hang out with movie stars. Like, it all sounds like a win to those people, to those brain dead people. And I think I could understand Ebert having feelings like that about Fight Club, in that it feels like it might be aggrandizing these things. It might be promoting these things. I don't feel that way. I do feel like watching the movie as a man that was probably ripe for watching this movie, I feel like it's a cautionary tale, and it feels like I would not want to be in their shoes. Versus Jordan Belfort in Wolf of Wall Street, I could see people feeling the opposite. So I get what Ebert's trying to say. I just think, to your point, he definitely he didn't see it the same way.
Yeah, and that's not the first time Scorsese's been criticized for that.
Oh, for sure.
Like Goodfellas, like he totally, like the whole first part of that movie, Henry Hill. It looks like, oh man, this guy's on top of the world,
right?
But I mean, I love Goodfellas, but like the actually when you hear the real Henry Hill, he said, "I'll tell you what it was like." He said, you had to live in fear every day of going to jail or having somebody else that you knew kill you.
Yeah.
If you screwed up. He said, that's what it was really like.
Sure. And the challenge in a filmmaker is both making you care about these characters and then making you question or dislike them at the same time. It's very difficult in a satire or in a movie that's a cautionary tale to really pull that off. I think it's a challenge.
And I'll tell you one that's good at pulling that off. to me is, and I think this movie is so overlooked in the 90s. It's A Bronx Tale.
Oh, sure. That's the De Niro movie, right? He directed
De Niro, and he's the bus driver. He tells his son, look, these guys, the guy like me is the guy you should be looking up to. Although Chaz Palminteri is brilliant in the movie, and he kind of like redeems himself there a little bit when he tells the kid to, this F off kid, you need to do, you don't need to be hanging around this kind of.
But I think the difference between a movie like Goodfellas and a movie like Bronx Tale is that the hero is given choices, right? And you look at Scarface, Fight Club, Wolf of Wall Street, they don't really have choices. They go the only route that they're given. And that's,
these guys made the
difference. That's the big difference. Is I feel like Bronx Tale has hope because there are people out there trying to give you an alternative to the isolation, depression, loneliness, right? To the consumerism, and that is community. Ultimately, the thing that these movies, often satires, struggle with is showing that the alternate to this lifestyle is community, is finding a group of like-minded people that care about you and that you are supporting. And it's not about you. It's not about being selfish and all of it is you and why am I not happy and why am I not. It's about other people and being of service to other people. And I think that's the thing these characters, Scarface, Jordan Belfort, Tyler Durden, and the narrator, they're struggling with finding a community to be a part of because they're way too focused on their own.
And would you say that all three of these people, or all four of these characters, the one thing you could say they all have in common definitely is they're taking the easy way out. They're taking shortcuts to get to where they want. Like Tony Montana, it could have been like, hey, I got out of this horrible place in Cuba. I'm in here washing dishes and I built myself up. Nope. He said, we're quitting this. We're going to do this job. We're going to take the easy way out. And then what's he do when he gets up there? The famous part is when he lost me. It's like, it's like what was great about Scarface, this movie, is like you see like this the total like inflation of this guy's ego. To the point where he's like, who put this together? I did. That's who. And then to the point where he shoots his best friend because he was in love with his sister.
Because once you're on that slippery slope, there's really no good end to it, right?
No, it's like you're going to have to go. Yeah.
About 2 more minutes and then I got to bounce.
All right, we're done anyway. That's I just wanted to. I appreciate you coming on. We'll just we'll close up here and go.
But this is a great movie. I appreciate being able to jump in and talk about it because it is a really well made film.
Real quick, and then we'll end it, and then I'll let you go. 1 out of 5, 1 to 5 stars. What do you rate the film?
I believe on my what's it called? Short box? No, it's not called short box. It's called Letterbox. I've got this at a 4.5 out of 5 is where I put this. Okay, that's pretty high. I ranked it pretty high.
Yeah. That's exactly where I put it at. I thought it was kind of like Brad Pitt's triumphant return because he just had a flop with Meet Joe Black.
Right.
And I mean, I know it wasn't great at the box office, but this is one of those films where it's like it got an extra life when it went to DVD and home video. And I get a 4 out of 5. I thought the screenplay was great. It was a great adaptation. They left some stuff out that was in the book, but you can't, when you're adapting something to the silver screen, you're not going to be able to put everything in there.
Sure. Especially if something as heady as Chuck Palahniuk's writing, it's not going to be an easy adaptation.
Yeah, and that guy was just like, I remember the first time I read one of his books, this guy's like a breath of fresh air. But this movie was kind of like that too. You're like, oh man. I don't know what this is, but I like it. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's mind blowing, right?
You're like, what are they doing here? I'm like, I was like part of it. Like, why are they allowed to talk about this? But like, yeah, it's great, and it's got one of the greatest songs to end a movie.
Yes,
"Where Is My Mind" by the Pixies.
Great.
So, that's it, for me and John. John, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I'm glad you did. I was dying out here. I mean, I don't mind doing it by myself, but like when you're talking about movies, it's better to have somebody, to bounce ideas off of.
I'll be your Tyler Durden anytime.
Okay. Well, let's not form a terror cell or anything. Okay, I don't need to do that.
No.
Or underground fight club, maybe an underground comic book club.
Hey, now you're talking.
All right. Well, before we go, I just want to say real quick. Next week is Thanksgiving week, so on Monday for Bad Cinema, we're reviewing a movie called Thanksgiving. It's insane. Trust me. And for good cinema, at 9 p.m. on Wednesday, we're going to be reviewing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, starring Steve Martin and John Candy.
Best
One of my
Thanksgiving
favorite
movie
holiday
ever.
movies of all time. So,
Yeah,
everybody, y'all be good. And you know what? Keep watching movies because there's plenty of them out there to watch there, and they're all pretty good, even the bad ones. So, we'll see you guys later.
Come, son of Jarrell! Kneel before Zod! Snitchy boochies.